Okay, thought I'd make a quick tutorial on how to make a shave horse. And no frills. Well, I'll just go through some basic dimensions to get started out. The seat is going to be roughly 4 feet or so. This could be up to 5 feet or even longer. There's a lot of variants you can go with this, okay? And I've got a width of 8 inches, and this particular beam is 4 inches thick. Now this is going to be a 3-legged outfit, and so I just drilled in the back leg at an angle. I don't even know what angle it is. It doesn't really matter as long as it stays upright. But what I've used to drill the holes with is this 3-inch cutter right here, which was used for the treehouse, the tabs. Okay, so I went ahead and ripped these beams down to 3 1/4, turned them, they're roughly 3 1/4, and then I fine-tuned them right here to 3 inches to go in that hole. And so I got 2 holes right here, and that's, I think, about 6 inches from the end. Again, these are all arbitrary numbers. You can do whatever you want. But anyway, when I fit the other one, it'll go here, obviously, and then that'll be the front. All right, so that's the beginning. Okay, so now I'm getting this sucker level, and now I left these legs long, and I'm going to end up with a final height probably about 21 inches or something like that. Again, this is all arbitrary. You can do what you want, but what I've done is I've leveled it this way. And then I'm taking this piece of wood and I'm scribing a line. I'll take a handsaw and cut that so that when I sit flush, it'll be level this way. I'll do the back after this, but to scribe a line, all you do is, I had to shim it up to get it to where I needed it, and put something flat. Carpenter pencil works really well for this. And you simply just draw a line. Okay, so we take this off. Make sure you guys can see what I've done there. I've drawn a line that I'll cut, and when I cut that, this should stay level on this dimension. Okay, so once I cut that, I'll cut the back peg and take it from there. Okay, you can see what a nice cut that makes. Flush with the floor. Okay, so now we gotta go the other direction. And you can see this is way out of level. So if we raise that up, I need to cut off at least ½ inch or so. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut 1.5 inches because I don't mind if this slopes down just a little bit. It might be a little more comfortable. So I'm gonna scrub it with 1.5 inches and cut it, and that should be it for the base after this. Okay, this is the finished product. Unfortunately, my battery died when I was making this the other day, so I couldn't shoot a lot of the footage. But I'm going to explain everything I didn't shoot. It's pretty simple. Okay, so I left off with the footage of just making the bench, which is a 3-legged stool. Okay, something important I realized, you know, we have 2 legs here, and then I've got 1 leg here. Because of this crossbar right here for your foot, you need to put, ideally you need to put this clamping mechanism on the 1-legged foot, because what it does is it these legs interfere with this little crossbar, and you can't get your clamping mechanism all the way down. Okay, so put the mechanism with the 1-legged foot instead of the 2. It'll help you out. Okay, but so all right, so let's go with the next step after the bench is made, which I think is the hardest part. Once you get that bench made, it's a breeze. You're gonna get a piece of wood. Now this one is only 6 inches instead of 8 like the bench, but that's all I had. Ideally, I would use another 8-inch piece, the same width as your seat, but I didn't have it, so it doesn't matter. And then what you do is, I just got an old hinge from a door I had lying around, and I just hinged this right here. Now there's different ways you can do this to make this pivot point, but hinge works really well. Okay, and what that allows you to do is move this piece up and down. Okay, so it's up and down, and you can adjust it with just a piece of wood. So it can be flat, or as you slide this piece of wood up and down, it'll obviously make the angle steeper. Okay, and then it's just a matter of taking a couple of 2x4s. I made these out of white oak, but with basically a foot pedal down here, Now to make things easier, sort of like that hinge, I just use leg bolts for my hinge points, my pivot point right here. It makes life a whole lot easier, a lot faster. What you can do though is just bore a hole through here and put like a wooden spindle if you want to do that, but I just find it easier to do this. Okay. Now, one disadvantage I have going on right here is the fact that the width is pretty much the width of my seat, which is 8 inches. Now, I'm customizing this because I'm going to be making wooden shingles. Okay, and most of them are anywhere from 4 to 8 inches. So my point is, if you need something wider, that that 1 inch axle, wooden dowel that goes through the whole body, might be to your advantage. That way you can get this piece out further and therefore have a wider piece up here. Okay, but something you got to think about. But for what I'm doing, this is going to be perfect. Okay. Okay, now the next item here is this piece here. Now I turned this on my lathe. All it is a ripped piece of wood. I left the rough side down so it grips better. So this is rough and this is rough. It's going to grip a whole lot better. But it's going to be able to rotate whatever piece you're working on. It'll clamp a whole lot better. Okay. So all I did was I drilled a hole into the beam here, and then I turned down my spindle to whatever size that was. In this case, it's 1 inch and 1/8. Okay. Now, if you don't have a lathe to do this, you can just drill a hole into the end of this block of wood and put a dowel in there. Same principle. Okay. But that's it in a nutshell. It works really well, and it's a fairly simple build. Really, I think the only hard part is if there is a hard part, is doing the bench because of the legs. Okay. All right, so stick around. I've got a set of drawings, or a drawing you can get all these dimensions off of. I know I've skipped over a lot, but you can see exactly what I've done here if you want to replicate exactly what I've done. But keep in mind though, you can customize this to whatever you need to do. All right, thanks for watching.